Today on Arts 24, I'm going to interview one of the greatest directors of all time.
We're having fun in here. We're not working.
That's what I like to hear.
We're playing.
You are.
He has 5 Oscars and 2 Palme d'Ors from the Cannes Film Festival. The man who gave us the Godfather trilogy, Apocalypse Now, Dracula, The Rainmaker, and The Conversation now brings us an ambitious original sci-fi apocalypse drama, Megalopolis, starring Adam Driver.
Purgatory.
It's wildly original and has left the critics baffled.
When does an empire die? Does it collapse in one terrible moment? No. But there comes a time when its people no longer believe in it.
Don't let the now destroy the forever.
Let's go meet Francis Ford Coppola. Francis Ford Coppola, hello.
Hello?
Now, you premiered Megalopolis in Cannes in May. You're one of the few film directors who've won the Palme d'Or, the top prize at the Cannes Film Festival twice, for A Conversation and Apocalypse Now. Francis...
Which I shared with the Tin Drum.
Which you shared with the Tin Drum. France is also the place where you got together with your late wife of over 60 years. Tell us about it.
Well, that was Rouen, where I was a friend of my wife. We were friends. And I was driving, I had a job to go to another place, and she said, oh, she had a boyfriend in Paris. Could she get a ride? And I said, sure, you know, I liked her, we were friends. And we even stayed in the same room because we didn't have any money. But 2 friends became lovers, and that was the beginning of a complicated relationship. But nonetheless, she was a wonderful woman, and we were married for more than 60 years. And oddly enough, this was Rouen, so her name was Eleanor, like the great Eleanor of history. And I just lost her, which is heartbreaking. But she's part of me now.
And you dedicated the new film to her.
Oh, for sure. She saw it. So I was happy that, and she was very encouraging.
You say all your films can be described by one word. Mm-hmm. They have one word at the heart of them. The Godfather was succession. Mm-hmm. Apocalypse Now was morality. The Conversation was privacy. What's Megalopolis?
Loyalty.
Because of the rain. Just came right above me.
It's a perfect school city for its people, able to grow along with them, just like great cities have always done.
What about those standing in your way, who like it the way it is?
Like your father?
We have to really decide to what and to whom and to we are loyal, and we give our heart to. And I say, let's give it to our human family, because we've existed for 300,000 years, and we are a family of geniuses. No one ever says it, but I mean, what other creature can do what we can do and can chart the human genome and change it, or send craft to Mars and photograph it and go move iceberg? In other words, there are many intelligent living things that are under our protection because we want to preserve living things. How can we not say we're geniuses? It's so obvious, but the reason we don't say it, we're not allowed to say it, they say hubris, you know, that, or God is great, we're just, you know, but no creature can do what we can do. So to me, it's clear. And therefore, our children are really valuable. One child lost, wherever it is, in Sudan and Ethiopia and Palestine, that's the loss of Archimedes or Einstein or Beethoven. We can't afford. Do you have children?
I do. I've got 2.
2? You know what I'm talking about. But it's not just our children. I have children and grandchildren and a great-grandchild. But I love your children, and they're all valuable to me.
And this is your first film in 13 years, but you have been thinking about it for 4 decades or more. It's described as a Roman Empire epic set in modern America. Did you ever realise how relevant it would be to today's politics?
You know, I arrived at that over time, and I thought it'd be fun to make a Roman epic. And then I realized it really should be in modern America because America was Rome today. And, you know, I don't have a lot of talents. I have a couple. I have a good memory. I am willing to work as hard as I have to rewrite something 1,000,000 times. But I have a talent for predicting the future. And, you know, I made the conversation about an eavesdropper, and then 10 years later there was Watergate. So for years I said I want to make a Roman epic set in modern America. People said, why? Well, this is why, because it's happening right now.
The need is to create something that lives on after a city fair, Mayor, which is why Megalopolis will be built entirely out of the megalon, which is imperishable.
The megalon is unsafe. Concrete, 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 and steel is safe.
Imagine today's society, a branch of civilization, about to reach a dead end.
And you cast John Voight in a role that bears a strong resemblance to Donald Trump. And he is, of course, an outspoken supporter of Trump. Can you tell us a bit about this decision?
Basically, I was above politics. I didn't want to just cast people who politically were the same, but everyone worked wonderfully together above all the politics, and that's the point. We can all work together, we human beings, and create a beautiful world for the children. That's what the film says.
Francis, you've always taken big risks to make your films, and you finance Megalopolis with money from your wine business. What's the biggest risk?
Well, I financed it with, I borrowed the money. I used the wine business as had the heft to do it, but I basically just owe the bank $130 million. It's, you know, it's a big debt.
What's the biggest risk you've taken to make a film?
Well, every film you make is sort of a risk because you are so sure you're right, and you may not be. But you know, this last one's a pretty big risk, but I would take a bigger risk. But I don't see it as a risk. I mean, because I never was crazy to have a lot of money. I figured I would do what I love, and one way or the other, I would be okay.
My film is not a movie.
Mon film n'est pas un film, c'est pas du cinéma.
My film is not about Vietnam.
C'est pas au sujet du Vietnam.
It is Vietnam.
C'est le Vietnam.
It's what it was really like. It was crazy.
C'était comment était Vietnam réellement, vraiment, c'était fou.
And the way we made it was very much like the way the Americans were in Vietnam.
When Apocalypse Now came out, people said, what on earth is this film? Now everyone thinks it's a masterpiece, or many people think it's a masterpiece. It was a similar reaction to Megalopolis in Cannes this summer. What do you think of the final product?
The test of time is, I mean, you said, well, some think it's a masterpiece. Bottom line is Apocalypse Now still earns a lot of money every year, and it's been 50 years.
You've heard of Colonel Walter E. Kurtz? Your mission is to terminate the Colonel's command.
Terminate. Terminate with extreme prejudice.
So I think pretty much Megalopolis is, people say the same thing. They look at it and they say, wow, what is it?
And children of all ages, welcome.
Is this society, is this way we're living, the only one that's available to us?
How many times have you seen it? Once?
Once.
Well, it's fun to see. It's not boring.
It's not boring.
So it's different each time you see it.
You made some of these legendary films like The Godfather more than half a century ago. When you look back at those experiences of making those films that have become such iconic films today, what do you think?
Oh, well, I remember when my daughter was born, that was exciting. And I remember taking them all with me to the Philippines on Apocalypse Now and putting my kids in Chinese schools, which they didn't understand. No, I see everything through the eyes of the people I love.
Now that you've finally made Megalopolis, is that it for you?
No, I know I'm done with something when I'm already working on something else. So I'm working on a new project, but I have to wait a while because I can't finance it. So I'm hoping I can finance it the normal way, but I don't know. But it's not one of these super duper expensive ones. But after that, I have a really big, ambitious one that I'd love to be able to do.
And a final thought from the godfather of filmmaking on life.
Do you have an electric toothbrush?
Do you know what? I don't, but my kids do, and I keep thinking I need to buy one.
Well, the electric toothbrush is interesting. Those of you who haven't know is you set it to brush your teeth, and then you're brushing your teeth, and all of a sudden it just stops. Well, that's what I think death is like. You know, you're just doing fine, and all of a sudden it stops. And the great Epicurus said, don't worry about death, because when you're living, there's no death, and when death comes, you don't exist. So you're not going to know it when it happens. It's just going to stop like an electric toothbrush. But at any rate, if I live long enough, I'll keep making films.
We are taking our city back.
And when we ask these questions, when there's a dialogue about them, that basically is a utopia.